Illinois football is bowl-bound and spending New Year's in Florida for the first time since 1999. Bret Beherns is live in Tampa with your Illini Nation Bowl Special, presented by Illinois Pork Producers.
Welcome to the Your Illini Nation Bowl Special. I'm your host, Bret Beherns, reporting from Tampa, Florida. Andy Olson and Brice Bement will join us coming up from Champaign. But we start with this beautiful backdrop that is Tampa, Florida, the host for Illinois football this week as it gets set to play Mississippi State in the ReliaQuest Bowl. The Illini arrived to a police escort on Monday, taking a charter flight from Champaign directly here to Tampa, Florida. And the sunny skies that it is, no one got off the bus better than super senior offensive lineman Alex Palczewski and Alex Pihlstrom. The two six-year players wore matching custom orange and blue shirts to commemorate the big travel day. And Pihlstrom more than excited for the chance to close his college career with a bowl game like this one.
Me and Palcho, we decided we were going to match, and we decided to wear these shirts. Just, having fun with it. That's what it's supposed to be about. Whole games are supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to be fun, but the whole week's going to be focused on the game. But hospitality is going to be great here. We got a lot of events planned, but excited to play one more game with our guys.
And that game at Raymond James Stadium, home of the Tampa Bay Bucks, as well as Super Bowl 55 in 2021. The big pirate ship, a landmark part of the stadium located just north of downtown. It seats about 69,000 fans, and there should be a lot of orange and blue in the house. Both Illinois and Mississippi State fans expected to show up in good numbers. The Illini took a formal team picture in front of that pirate ship on Wednesday. It was the players' first and only chance to look around the stadium before game day. They practiced all week at the University of Tampa with multiple workouts and walkthroughs. Illini head coach Bret Bielema said he wants to make it as close to a game week as possible as far as the practices go. It all leads up to the matchup against the Bulldogs, January 2nd, 11 a.m. Central Time. Both teams 8-4. The Bulldogs ranked 22nd in the latest poll. Illinois 0-3 in bowl games against SEC teams. Watch it on ESPN2. And Mississippi State fans and the team will be playing with a heavy heart after the passing of Mike Leach earlier this month due to complications from a heart condition. Mike Leach, a one-of-a-kind coach and personality off the field, known as the mastermind of the air raid offense, spending 21 years as a head coach at Texas Tech, Washington State, and Mississippi State. Off the field, he was as unique as they come, a personality who always had a story, usually about something other than football. Mike Leach was 61 years old. Zach Arnett and Bret Bielema both appeared in Tampa this afternoon for a joint press conference. Arnett takes over as the new head coach of the Bulldogs at just 36 years old. Arnett is preparing to take the field as a head coach for the first time against Illinois. For Bret Bielema, it's his first time appearing in a bowl game with the orange and blue. Both guys say they have a lot of respect for their opponent and their contrasting styles.
When I heard Mississippi State, I think I got intrigued with. I knew our guys would really enjoy the challenge of this game. They're very unique to anything we see in the Big Ten, so it's really been easy to lock these guys in. I don't know what kind of success we're going to have, but you turn on Mississippi State's film, defensively, the things that they create, the movements, it's just a really cool preparation. I think our kids really have enjoyed the process of preparing for an opponent.
As a fan of just defense and aggressive defense, the way it's supposed to be played, the job that they did this year, it's fun to watch. I know our guys have enjoyed watching it just on film because that's how defense is supposed to be played. They've done a phenomenal job.
The Bulldogs finished 8-4 this fall, third in the SEC West behind Alabama and LSU. No surprise, Mississippi State wants to air it out. The 11th ranked passing offense in the country, led by quarterback Will Rogers, 8th individually in the nation, passing for more than 3,700 yards this season for Rogers. Arnett says he will still call the plays defensively, how the Bulldogs approach the game with Leach no longer on the sidelines calling the offense. Something to keep an eye on. Bowl games are a reward for the players and coaches, and they got a chance to have some fun Thursday afternoon with the Illini making a trip to Busch Gardens. Dozens of players took advantage of the opportunity to ride roller coasters and get away from football for a while. Illinois receiver Isaiah Williams, one of 6 players who got a behind-the-scenes tour and got to enjoy feeding some wildlife as well, including a giraffe. But the coasters were the biggest hit and what Williams says he will remember most.
I have never been on one like that. I ain't gonna lie, that was crazy.
What'd you think overall?
At first, a little nervous. Got up there, just closed my eyes, closed them for like 5 seconds, opened them, We were still going negative. After that, I'm like, I already know what's about to happen for the rest of the ride. But after that, it was just fun from there. But at first, I was most definitely scared.
Did you put your hands up?
No, most definitely not. I was like this. I was like the whole time.
Speaking of that wildlife, Florida all about the alligators, and they were out sunning themselves at Busch Gardens. Just massive creatures and a big crowd all around to take pictures and get a glimpse of the Gators. Another fun activity away from the game, team night at Splitsville. The Illini went bowling on Wednesday night. We hear no perfect games, but a whole lot of fun. Illinois and Mississippi State took advantage of the night on Sparkman Wharf for food and games. All part of the fun this week here in Florida. A beach day also in the works for the players. And it's hard not to have fun here in Tampa. The temperatures were a little bit cooler earlier in the week, and by cool, I mean in the 50s. It was in the 70s on Thursday. They're going to continue to rise until we get to game time, expected to be in the 80s. And I know Andy and Brice, you guys may be a little bit jealous. I know a lot of Illini Nation making the trip down here as well, and they are going to enjoy the temperatures.
All right, Brett, thanks. We'll check back in with you later and enjoy those warm temps. The Illini are settled into Tampa, but there are several players and coaches not with the team, most notably defensive coordinator Ryan Walters.
He goes from Champaign to West Lafayette, becoming Purdue's new head coach on December 13th. It's Walters' first head coaching gig, becoming the fourth youngest FBS head coach at just 36 years old. He led a historic turnaround with the Illini, taking them from 97th in scoring defense to the top spot in the country this season, allowing just 12.3 points per game. The Broyles Award finalist says he's thankful for all his time at Illinois.
I'd like to thank the University of Illinois and the Champaign-Urbana community for opening their arms and embracing my family and I these last 2 seasons. I'd like to thank Coach Bielema for pouring into me and being my mentor, telling me things that I didn't want to hear at times, and also motivating me and encouraging me.
Walters signed a 5-year deal with Purdue. Illinois visits the Boilers next season on September 30th.
With Walters already in West Lafayette, Illinois promotes from within for its next defensive coordinator, with Bielema naming Aaron Henry to the position. This will be Henry's first time calling a defense. He spent the past 2 seasons on the Illini staff as defensive backs coach. The former Wisconsin DB played under Bielema in Madison as an all-conference player. Now he gets the chance to lead Bielema's defense. Many thought Bielema would promote outside linebackers coach Kevin Kane to the position, but he goes to Purdue, becoming Walters' DC. Aaron Henry will call the defense in the bowl game for the Illini, but he won't coach Devin Witherspoon there. He's opting out to start preparing for the NFL draft. Witherspoon, fellow defensive back Sidney Brown, his brother Chase, and Luke Ford announced they won't play in the ReliaQuest Bowl, a decision Witherspoon and Brown said wasn't easy to make.
It was tough. I'm a captain of this team. It's not easy. I love these guys, and I've poured it out here for 5 years. I'm going to tear up because I love this place. And, where it's taken me over the past 5 years, forever be in debt.
It's been a wonderful opportunity playing alongside these guys. We all trusted each other, and this year took off for me, and I'm just proud to be where I am today.
And what a season from Witherspoon. The quarterback is quickly rising up NFL draft boards after becoming the first Illini consensus All-American since 2011. He led the nation in reception percentage against and forced incompletions, according to PFF. From a no-star recruit out of Pensacola to a projected first-round pick by several experts, Witherspoon cemented his legacy as the Big Ten Defensive Back of the Year and one of the 3 Jim Thorpe finalists for the best DB in the country.
He's the headliner of the Illini All-Americans, listed as a first-team selection by 5 different organizations. Offensive lineman Alex Palczewski gets 1 nod for the first team as well, while Johnny Newton and the Brown brothers also get some national recognition. Sidney, as a safety, was also named first-team All-Big Ten, tying for the national lead in interceptions with 6. His brother Chase is just 55 yards away from setting the single-season record currently held by Michael LaShore. Brown led Power 5 running backs in rushing yards this season with 1,643, scoring 13 total touchdowns. His 10 100-plus yard rushing games tied for the national lead with the Doak Walker Award finalist, 3rd in the country with nearly 1,900 all-purpose yards.
Combined Browns play with transfer quarterback Tommy DeVito's success success, and it adds up to the Illini offense making big strides this season, jumping 42 spots nationally to 70th in total offense. First-year offensive coordinator Barry Lunny Jr., another reason for the improvement, but he didn't pick DeVito out of the portal from Syracuse. The transfer was already in place before Lunny arrived in Champaign. The two hit it off, though, and helped Illinois become a top-half Big Ten scoring offense.
You know, our parents did a nice job arranging the marriage, is what it came down to, It's, what is that show? Is that Love at First Sight or Marriage at First Sight or whatever? It's kind of what we went. We just kind of showed up at the altar together, and there we were. And really, at the end of the day, it's probably really worked out very well for both sides, because I think he's really kind of perfect for what we're trying to do.
DeVito is currently third in the nation in completion percentage at 70%. If he continues that streak in the bowl game, it will break the single-season record.
Well, nearly 24 Illini have ties to Florida, but a game in Tampa is a true homecoming for others like Johnny Newton.
When I saw Tampa, I just thought of 60 tickets, bringing my whole family to the game.
Playing back home means Newton will have a big cheering section at Raymond James Stadium, including his newborn daughter, who will see him suit up for the first time. That story is next.
Your Illini Nation Bowl Special, presented by Illinois Pork Producers, continues now.
Welcome back to the Your Illini Nation Bowl Special. 18 Illini hail from the Sunshine State, including nearly the entire defense. 7 starters on that side of the ball come from Florida, and they proved to be a very good defense this season. So when the Illini found out they were heading south to the ReliaQuest Bowl, it certainly meant a whole lot more to guys like Quan Martin. This is the senior defensive back's final game in college, but it will be his first time playing a game back in his home state since high school.
It's coming back to where it all started at, man. Just having this opportunity just to come back here, because we got a lot of family from here who isn't always able to come up to Illinois and travel everywhere to see us play. So just to have this opportunity and play in front of our family is very important.
Quan added he was at the game in 2017 when Illinois got rolled at Raymond James Stadium by USF. He enrolled at Illinois the next year. But there's one Illini, Andy, in particular, who is very excited to be playing back here in the Tampa area.
Yeah, Brett, that's right. From year one with Bret Bielema's staff to year two, no one may have taken a bigger leap than Johnny Newton. With All-America and all Big Ten honors for the sophomore, the defensive lineman seems primed to play on Sundays in the future. Before any of that, the St. Petersburg native has the chance to play in front of his hometown crowd for the first time since high school as well. But this game will mean just a little bit more than a homecoming for the Newton family.
I just thought of 60 tickets, bringing my whole family to the game.
Returning to the Tampa Bay area would have been special enough for Johnny Newton and his family, but the Illinois defender has an extra bundle of joy in tow, as Jovian Newton was born November 17th, 2 days before Newton suited up against Michigan.
It was a perfect timing for me. It was really tiring, but I mean, it's worth every second of it. Waking up in the middle of the night, changing diapers. I feel like her mom's the best mother she could ask for, and I'm just there right on her coattail, helping her out. It's a really amazing experience, and I love everything about it.
Call it dad strength or the baby bump, Newton had one of his best games of the season in the big house with 7 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and a fumble recovery. Between pressuring the quarterback and changing diapers, Newton has kept his play at an All-American level.
I give hats off to Johnny, for him to be like an absolute baller and to, be dealing with this baby girl and, bring the same energy every day. Just you got to be one of a kind to do something like that.
We didn't know when his daughter was going to come, so we had actually had conversations going all the way back to this past fall about how we'll handle the moment, move forward. Johnny's a very mature, very established football player, and he demonstrates the same thing off the field as well. Really excited for him.
It's sure to be an emotional week in the Sunshine State because of a loaded schedule between practice and school. The bowl game will be the first time Newton's parents will meet their granddaughter.
I mean, going back home, my baby finally gets to meet all my family members. My parents haven't met her yet, my brother, so I mean, it's a tough ride going back home. She can't fly yet, but it'll be worth it so all my family members can meet her.
So good for the Newton family there. He has some leads to protect in the final game of the season. He's first in the nation in QB hits per PFF and leads the stout Illini defense this season in tackles for loss and sacks as well. Bret Bielema has turned around Illinois football in short order, delivering the best season to his home state school in 15 years.
He represents, Provincetown keeps coming up because of his past, so they all kind of celebrate his successes with him.
Bielema's work to bring Illinois football back to relevance means a whole lot more to the people in his hometown of Provincetown. We take a trip there next and talk one-on-one with Bielema as the Your Illini Nation Bowl special continues.
Bret Beherns is live in Tampa with your Illini Nation Bowl special, presented by Illinois Pork Producers.
Illinois head coach Bret Bielema has wasted little time turning around the Illinois football program. He's 13-11 in his first 2 years with the program. That's the best start to a tenure since John Mackovic back in the late 80s. Bielema has made it big in coaching, but as I found out taking a trip back to his hometown of Prophetstown, his small town roots still hold true, and the people in Prophetstown are very proud of all of his accomplishments. The lights are on long before the sun comes up in Prophetstown.
Good morning.
The coffee pours as freely as the conversation at the Prophet family restaurant.
There you go, Larry. Anything else for the two of you at the moment?
Hosting a daily group of regulars who talk about everything from politics to the small town gossip.
I seen you pull up, so I got your coffee ready.
Where am I at? Right
It's their usual spot.
Amber Posey Rippey has been waiting tables here for 15 years. Born and raised in Prophetstown, she has seen and heard it all.
It's everything, small town America. You know all your regulars, you know all the customers.
Steve Lindahl regularly finds himself at the middle table, where the topic of conversation has centered on Illinois football a lot more as of late, and Prophetstown's most famous native, Bret Bielema.
It's a little exciting for Illinois, put us back in the spotlight.
Lindahl and the Bielemas were neighbors when Bret was growing up on an 80-acre hog farm south of town. The old Bielema homestead looks a lot different now, long since sold, but Steve still remembers the current Illini coach, walking beans and working on the farm, even babysitting his kids.
Actually, when he was in high school there, I always figured he was going to be a lawyer because he was real personable, outgoing, and obviously it worked for him.
Steve's story isn't unlike others in Prophetstown. The Bielemas are a well-known name in a place where everyone seems to know everyone. Bret's legacy remains at his old high school, with pictures in the hallway of the Panthers grad. Prophetstown Athletic Director Derek Cox says it means a little more. The Illini coach now represents both his home state and the Panthers on the big stage.
Small town, I think everybody, they're invested in it. They follow up to Wisconsin, to Arkansas, wherever he went, they want him to do well.
The Panthers still play football here on the same field where Bielema suited up on more than 3 decades ago, although the school now co-ops with Erie for all sports. This is where the foundation for all of Bret's future success was laid, and he seemingly did it all. From the football field to wrestling, track and field to playing the tuba in the band, all in the no-stoplight town of about 2,000 people.
He represents, Prophetstown keeps coming up because of his past. So even if he's now down at the University of Illinois doing awesome things, everywhere I go, it's like, oh, you're from Prophetstown. You know Bret Bielema. And so, yeah, it's cool. I think everybody kind of, even if they haven't met him, they all kind of celebrate his successes with him.
Certainly a lot to celebrate with Bielema turning the tide for the Illini, but this year has also been filled with loss. Bret's mother, Marilyn, passed away in mid-November, just 2 days before the Michigan game. Bielema nearly led his team to an upset win over the Wolverines. Then just 6 days after his mother's passing, Bret's father-in-law, Greg Heilsberg, died 3 days before the Northwestern game. Bielema was on the field in Evanston, leading the Illini to a win. A lot to process for the Bielema family this year, but through it all, he has persevered. We'll hear from Bret coming up next in an exclusive one-on-one interview with Andy Olson. They sit down to talk about everything from those small-town roots to his new-look coaching staff and more as the Your Illini Nation Bowl Special continues.
Bowl Special, presented by Illinois Pork Producers.
Welcome back to the Your Illini Nation Bowl Special. We're joined now by Illini head coach Bret Bielema. Bret, old neighbors still hold you in high regard. How would you say that Prophetstown has shaped you and got you to this point?
You know, we moved there when I was young. I was like 4 years old when we moved there, and basically spent every day of my life there until I went to college. And was shaped a lot, obviously, by the family I was around, my mom, my dad, my 2 brothers and 2 sisters, but also the community. My first job as a lifeguard, my first job as a stock boy in a grocery store. Friends that I had then are still the friends I have now.
In your coaching career, a bowl game has become standard. That is the standard end of the year. It's your first one here at Illinois in your second season. How different and how important is it to have this extra time with the team and to get that reward at the end of the year?
You know, 2 different things, right? We got out of the year a year ago, 1 game shy of making bowl eligibility, and this year we were bowl eligible in 7 games, right? So kind of a dramatic change in a short amount of time, but I would think the culmination of becoming bowl eligible really wasn't a big deal in the building. I think the expectation was there, and then the build up to see where we went was a nice little crescendo to play Mississippi State. I think our guys were very excited to play an SEC opponent. I don't think anybody's going to argue with 7 days in the sun in Tampa and a lot of fun events in between.
Ryan Walters moving on to be a head coach. I'm sure you're proud of his progress and what he's done after 2 years here with you, but he leaves for a divisional opponent. For you, do you not like that? You know, he knows the secrets inside the building, or does that excite you, having someone you know so well you get to play every year?
Well, you're excited for him and his family. You know, we talk a lot about family in this building, and it's not just a catchphrase or a hashtag. Ryan's been part of this family for 2 years. In a way, he'll continue to be a part of the family just because we're all strong friendships. As far as being an opponent in our Big Ten, it does add that challenge, but you know, I went to Iowa. I played, coached at Wisconsin forever. Definitely a team that we're going to see every year, and that's kind of an exciting phase right now. Obviously, when we had these 2 other teams, no one knows how it'll play out.
So his replacement, Aaron Henry, someone you know very well, from him being one of your players to him being on your staffs now at 2 different universities. What about what you've seen from him as a coach made you think he was ready to be a defensive coordinator?
You know, I was around him early in his career as a player. Then I saw him as a GA. And then really, we weren't together. We were connected on the level that we are. We're, you know, a coach and a player that never loses that bond. But then when he came on staff here and I began to see him present to his team, I gave him different topics to talk to the group. I saw him interact in recruiting. But then I saw his presence in front of his players. And the growth of some of his players, you know, obviously Devin Witherspoon has been the most decorated DB in the history of Illinois football. Consensus All-American, the first one that's ever been here as a DB. A guy that is up for the Thorpe Award, which is recognized as the best. You know, that was from direct coaching by Aaron Henry. He played corner under Coach Henry, and the growth that he had in his last 2 years set tone for me about what he's done as a coach. And now he's got a chance to do that to the entire room.
This offseason, already as many changes as there were last offseason. How do you as head coach maybe manage that when bringing in new coaches and trying to keep the same consistency going?
Really, each year starts a new calendar year, and in a way, because we do have a lot of new players in the building, do we have new coaches in the building, I kind of reset every year. You can adapt it a little bit, but once we get run through this game, we'll take a couple weeks to go home, be with our families as players. As coaches, we'll go back out on the road. But when we start up here the first Tuesday after Martin Luther King Day, we will reset the pause button and start all over once again. We'll reteach football 101. We'll reteach how we do things in the building. We'll talk about how we, you know, live life in the community that we live in, and really just kind of do it on repeat every year and try to make it a little better each year.
How do you look at moving forward? You've been to the bowl game, a New Year's bowl game. What constitutes success moving forward for the team as you go into year 3?
Yeah, you know, a great question. I think Josh summed that up in our first phone call together. He wanted to have sustained success, right? We want to be able to do something on a level here that hadn't been done over a period of time. We're definitely making steps in the right direction. I'm not saying we're at our peak, but I definitely know we've moved the needle in the right direction. Now, the ones that we lose, we got to replace. We got to continue to build and grow the ones we have.
To watch our full interview with Bret, head to our website, YourIllinination.com. We're a half hour in, but we still got 30 minutes to go on our hour-long special dedicated all to Illini football. We got more from our analysts, Jeremy Werner and Robert Rosenthal, coming up. Plus,
a lot of people from here don't get an opportunity like that, so just to show people that it's possible.
One of Illinois football's top gets in the class of 2023 is from the Illini's backyard. Hear from 4-star running back Caden Fagan on his decision to stay home next.
from Tampa, this is your Illini Nation Bowl Special, presented by Illinois Pork Producers.
Recruiting quickly became a hot topic when Bret Bielema was introduced almost 2 years ago. Most importantly, keeping in-state prospects in-state. They succeeded at that in the class of 2023. Here's a breakdown by position. Illini going heavy along the line. 9 recruits on offense and defense. 7 of the group are from Illinois. Importantly as well, Illini adding Ole Miss transfer QB Luke Altmaier, who will be the favorite to start next year. The class is headlined by running back Caden Fagan from Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammonds. Illinois was first to offer the 4-star recruit. High major programs came calling, but more than anything, Fagan wanted to stay home.
Home state, a lot of people from here don't get an opportunity like that. So just to show people that it's possible.
I just was blown away with his size, his athleticism, his maturity. He's just got a little something to him that when he walks in the room, there's presence.
Fagan is the first Division I football player in ALAH history.
Fagan won't be the only Central Illinois kid putting on the orange and blue in the class. El Paso Gridley punter Declan Dooley is making the short trip south to Champaign. He's the 12th ranked punter in the country according to Cole's Kicking and second in the state. Bielema's project at Illinois was an easy sell to the in-state specialist.
Coach Bielema is an amazing guy. Their culture behind that, I can't express it enough. They are a family, and I'm more than excited to be able to say that I'll be a part of that family.
Here's how the Illini class stacks up. 24/7 Sports has them ranked 47th in the country and 9th in the Big Ten. They are, however, still waiting on a decision by 4-star in-state wide receiver Malik Elzy. He's already signed during the early period, but won't announce his decision until the All-American Bowl on January 7th.
Well, we talk recruiting, and now to go to one of the recruiting experts on the Illini beat, Jeremy Werner from Illini Inquirer, joining us now. And Jeremy, it's an interesting time. We just passed signing day now, and with the big news, it seems like, of the past month, Ryan Walters, the defensive coordinator, moving on. I want to get your opinion, what you think about him moving on does for the Illini now moving forward with their recruiting process.
It was never good when you lose such a talented coach like Ryan Walters, one of the best defense coordinators in the country, and really their defensive turnaround the last couple of years, Andy, has been phenomenal. To go from one of the worst in the country defensively in Lovie Smith's last year to one of the most dominant the last couple of years, he earned this opportunity, and I think anyone who's been around Ryan Walters knows he's a special guy. He's a special competitor. He's great schematically, and he's just a phenomenal leader of men. So you knew this was going to come along at some point. The problem for Illinois is it's at a division rival, a Big Ten rival, right down the road. And of course, he takes Kevin Kane with him as his defensive coordinator. So that doubly hurts for Illinois. But I think Bret Bielema, the one thing you really trust with him is finding coaching talent. He did it with his first staff. This staff is one of the best Illinois has had in a really long time. And then he's been great with defensive coordinators, finding guys who have bright futures, whether it's Dave Doran moving on to be a head coach, Chris Ash goes on to be a head coach, and now Ryan Walters. He does a really good job of that. And Aaron Henry, he thinks, is a really special talent, and now he'll get his chance to run a defense for the first time.
I want to know what you think as well about what the defense will look like as a whole. I mean, Aaron Henry got to see what Ryan Walters did for 2 years here at Illinois, but the two had not worked previously. Henry was a Bielema guy, and Walters had never worked with Bielema before. Do you think that it's going to look the same going into 2023?
It's not, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think that would be the thing. I think Aaron Henry's going to put his mark on it. I think he's going to put his own flavor on it. Maybe Bret Bielema wants to change things up. Ryan Walters created this defense, but he created this defense with Bret Bielema, with Andy Boo, who's supposed to stay on staff, Terrence Jamison, and Aaron Henry, and Kevin Kane in there as well. So I think you have a defense that has an identity, which is aggression, hitting hard, physicality, winning in the trenches, and then a secondary that flies around and gets the ball, man-to-man defense. I don't think those principles are going to change, even if some of the flavor of it changes up a little bit with a new play call.
2 coaches already gone. Is that going to have an impact, do you think, going into next year with some of these new guys learning these new positions and coaching in these new positions?
That certainly has an impact. I think there could be some growing pains with the new assistant coaches figuring out their roles. Aaron Henry figuring out his voice as the defensive coordinator. I don't think he struggles with that voice, but I think just someone new leading the room. He's different than Ryan Walters. He speaks different than Ryan Walters. Ryan's kind of calm, cool, and collected leading up to the week. On Saturdays, he's pretty intense. Aaron Henry's always got some intensity to him. But I think you're going to have some growing pains, but that's college football. There's so much turnover, whether it's coaching staff, whether it's players. You have to adjust on the fly. But the one continuity is Bret Bielema. And Bret Bielema was really good at coaching his coaches and allowing his coaches to coach and leave their imprint. But the last 2 years, Illinois has gotten the most, mostly out of its players, and you feel like this team is always well prepared. And I don't think that's going to change with Bret Bielema.
Mostly these are players that Bret Bielema and his staff had inherited when they got here from Lovie Smith's tenure, and has gotten this different side of them that we did not see. What is it about this coaching staff that breeds that kind of development?
Well, we've talked with guys like Sidney Brown and Devin Witherspoon, who Lovie Smith gave an opportunity to, who few coaches gave an opportunity to, right? These are really under-the-radar guys, and Lovie Smith did a great job of finding talent and evaluating talent. These guys say, though, under Bret Bielema, he changed my life. They're kind of an infomercial for Bret Bielema in that he teaches them football. They talk about the football 101, just understanding the game better and being put in positions to succeed. That's what this staff is doing. Of course, if you want to keep climbing the ladder, you got to get better talent, more NFL guys. But the fact that they are developing NFL guys, developing All-Americans out of what they inherited, which weren't that highly ranked recruiting classes, says a lot about this staff.
We were all over the place this year for the pregame show, every stadium on the road, and we hope it continues into a very successful 2023 season. Jeremy, good hearing from you all year. We appreciate it.
Always appreciate it, Andy.
Josh Whitman was a big part of Illinois' turnaround as a player. Now he's orchestrating it as athletic director. He weighs in coming up. Plus,
thank you to the University of Illinois. You took a child of immigrants. You brought him in, made him one of your own.
Alex Palczewski wraps up a 6-year career in orange and blue, making history for both his family and the university. His story is next.
Your Illini Nation Bowl Special, presented by Illinois Pork Producers, continues now.
No one knows an Illinois football turnaround better than Josh Whitman. The Illinois athletic director was a freshman tight end in 1997 when that team went winless in head coach Ron Turner's first year. Just 2 seasons later, they were 8-4, playing in a Florida bowl game. Ironically, that was the last time Illinois played in a Florida bowl game, in a blowout win over Virginia, the MicronPC.com Bowl. A 4-year starter, Whitman helped turn the tide, giving him a unique perspective now for just how far the program has come under Bret Bielema.
really excited for our student athletes. Of course, we have some of our older guys in particular who have been around for a long time and haven't had the opportunity to participate in the postseason on a regular basis. And so for them to be able to conclude their careers in some cases in a game with this reputation is really exciting for me.
Whitman proclaimed, "We will win," when he was hired back in 2016. It took a while, but the Illini are breaking through, guaranteed their first winning season since 2011. And you don't have to look very far to know just how passionate Josh Whitman is for Illinois athletics. Those big bear hugs after football and basketball games have become a staple. Bryce?
All right, Brett, I'm sure Illini fans are hoping for the best one yet coming in on Monday. But Alex Palczewski is the most accomplished guy out of that group. Palcho, as he's known, was just 17 when he started training camp, and head coach Lovie Smith's second year back in August of 2017. Alex had big goals back then, and the Mount Prospect native accomplished nearly everything he set out to do. But the road to get there was anything but easy.
I want to leave this place better than how I came here. I would say I've been able to do that.
Well, that was a goal for Alex Palczewski. It seemed far off his freshman year when the Illini finished 2-10. But as a sixth-year senior heads to his last game at Raymond James Stadium for the ReliaQuest Bowl with an 8-4 record, it's a full-circle moment as he ends his college career where he got his first road start in 2017.
And it's a little bit of a trial by fire. As we know, it didn't end up going that well that year, but it kind of gave us the foundation to help bring future success to this program.
The growth he's had as a player, as a person, great leader, just an absolute steady Eddie. So hopefully we'll end this one on a better note.
The journey hasn't been easy. The offensive lineman didn't know if he'd get a bonus year in orange and blue after initially turning pro and playing in the Hula Bowl. But an NCAA waiver cleared Palczewski for a sixth season at Illinois, allowing him to make history, becoming the Big Ten leader in career starts at 64. He will tie the all-time FBS starts record at the ReliaQuest Bowl.
It's a little bit unreal, just especially going back from last year. Obviously, I thought I was done. 3 surgeries on my legs, and being able to bounce back, come back here for one more year, and kind of leave on my note, it's been truly something special.
Palcho was raised knowing nothing comes easy. The All-American is the first one in his family to get a college degree and a first-generation American after his parents moved to the United States from Poland in the 80s. With his eyes on the NFL, Palczewski hopes to repay his family that sacrificed so much for him to live his dream.
My parents retired a little bit early. They came here as immigrants, one suitcase, no language, no money, no family, and just took an opportunity to take care of their family and then eventually give us an opportunity at something greater.
Palczewski grew up speaking Polish. He's still fluent and says he hopes to visit his family back in Poland in the near future. After the bowl, Alex will start preparing for the NFL draft to make his pro dreams a reality, while also finishing up his online classes to get his master's degree in business management. He hopes to finish it next year.
You know he's having a ton of fun in Tampa this week, though, looking to finish off his college career with the win while enjoying every step of the way in Florida.
It just showed that all the hard work that we've done, is paying off, and giving back to the community is always a great feeling.
Keith Randolph Jr. and Johnny Newton teamed up all season, anchoring the Illini defensive line. Now they're giving back off the field to those in need as part of their NIL deal.
Welcome back to the Your Illini Nation Bowl special, visiting with Robert Rosenthal from IlliniBoard.com. Robert, thanks so much for being with us today.
Of course.
And obviously the Illini are in Tampa, Florida for the ReliaQuest Bowl. Robert, what do you expect to see from the Illini on Monday?
You know, part of this is bowl games can be kind of fun. You know, there's not the pressure of does this one mean you're going to be in the conference championship game? Where are you in the race? Are you qualifying for a bowl? You know, there's just a go out and play football and have fun.
Bret Bielema coming in and kind of changing the pace and changing the program of Illinois football. You know, what do you think he has done for this program? Obviously, he's changed it around. What do you think about just the Bielema era?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that last game against Northwestern, the fact that the conversation was, oh man, I hope they get this 8th win, instead of your typical, you know, you're 3-8 and well, maybe 4-8 maybe looks better, and or maybe you have 5 wins and you're trying to beat Northwestern just to get to one of the minor bowls, to have a winless Big Ten season in 2017, and now in the last 2 years to be 500 in the Big Ten, 4-5 and then 5-4, is a massive leap for Illinois football. So, you know, big picture here, what has been accomplished these last 2 seasons is pretty incredible.
And obviously, Bielema has brought in some great coordinators and things like that. Ryan Walters, obviously, defensive coordinator for Illinois, going to Purdue now to be the head coach. I guess, you know, let's first talk about what he did for the program this season. Illinois defense was ranked nationally throughout the entire year. What did we see from him and how he made this defense so strong and such a threat for other teams' offenses?
He's one of those technicians that can get the most out of his players, that can identify, you know what, that guy's not a receiver, he's a free safety, and this guy, he needs to be at corner. You know, for that kind of identification is really, really key. And that's what Purdue will be getting.
How do you think he's going to translate over into being a head coach at Purdue? And obviously that's going to be a fun matchup when they go to play him again and play Purdue.
Yeah, it's interesting. Being a head coach is a whole lot different than what we've discussed. You know, if you've noticed, I'm sure over the last few years, that Bret Bielema is very organized and has, well, at our 7 a.m. meeting we talked about this, and then I had the players in at 9, and then I did some individual meetings with the linebackers this afternoon. There's all of that takes a master organizer. We know that Ryan Walters is really good at coaching defense, scheming defense, identifying players, coaching safeties. We don't know yet if he's going to be that successful at organizing the entire picture.
The Illinois defense, a lot of guys might be moving on potentially to the NFL, even offensively as well. I guess, you know, what do you think that's going to look like for, I guess to start with Illinois, and maybe a lot of gaps, maybe a lot of holes to fill next season?
Yeah, it's really interesting. You know, it used to be that at this time of year, you could look at the depth chart for next year, and you could look at the recruiting class that's coming in, and you see that. Now, with the ability of the transfer portal, even possibly next summer, they could go through spring ball and say, you know what, we need a cornerback and we need a defensive tackle, and then go out on the transfer portal market and find those guys.
The last kind of 4 weeks here, the Illini have had a chance to get back on the field, and Bielema said he was, you know, wanting some guys to get a few more reps on the field. Talk to me a little bit about, you know, what do you think maybe they've been working on in this last 4 weeks?
Yeah, that's something that, you know, Illinois doesn't get the opportunity to do. You get these 3 weeks of extra practices, and you also have a game where, you know, if there's a freshman with the new redshirt rule, if there's a freshman, you want to kind of see what he has, what he's going to bring. You're looking toward next year. As long as he hasn't played in 4 or more games this season, he can play in this bowl game.
All right, thanks so much. And we still got more to come on the Your Illini Nation Bowl special.
Well, as you can see, she clearly knows exactly what she's doing.
Several Illini give back to the community, donating their time and even money, helping those in need have a happy holiday.
The holidays are all about giving back, and Illinois football is no exception. More than 65 Illini players showed up to help out a Champaign County organization called Young Lives. They walk alongside teen moms. They invited me to come along for a night both the Illini players and moms won't forget anytime soon.
Well, as you can see, she clearly knows exactly what she's doing. You see the cart.
I had no idea what to expect, and it's blown me away. The players have loved on my girls so well.
This is a new experience. It's a new experience for me.
Yeah,
but
he's definitely good with babies. Young Lives is a ministry to teen moms in Champaign County, and my girls and their babies and our Young Lives mentors came out. They got to be paired up with an Illinois football player and go out and have a night of shopping and fun.
Where you going? I was excited to come. There's nothing like, giving back to the community and helping out these lovely young ladies with their babies and stuff. So
we got a Barbie, a baby alive.
Each family got $200 tax-free, and they could get Christmas for themselves, for their kids and family members, and this has been a huge weight off their shoulders. They didn't know how Christmas was going to come together, and by the grace of God, this night happened, and we're just so thankful.
I think you got the best card out of everybody. I'm not going to lie.
It was kind of surprising. Like, when she told us that we were going to be shopping with football players, I was like, oh, football players.
They have children of their own. Obviously, I don't, so it's kind of a new experience to me, walking through the aisles that I usually don't walk through, and seeing the prices. Some things are expensive. I'm looking at diapers and wipes, and I'm like, hey, it costs to have kids on it, but it's been awesome.
Tommy, he was cool.
Did you get it all? Oh, we got it all.
He helped me pick out a present for my little sister, because I didn't know what to get her.
Well, it's a testament to Coach B giving us the opportunity to come out here and him providing everybody here with the opportunity to shop and get a little head start on Christmas. So, but again, it's nothing. I wish we could do this more often, and hopefully this is something that just keeps reoccurring in the future.
Illinois head coach Bret Bielema and his wife Jen paid the tab for the entire event as a way to give back to the community. Great to see so many Illini players at the event. More Illini giving back this holiday season. Defensive lineman Johnny Newton and Keith Randolph Jr., the duo known as the Law Firm, partnered with their NIL supporter Harrington Law to donate $5,000 to the Champaign Boys and Girls Club. Harrington Law donated $100 for every sack the Illini defense recorded this season. 28 in all. Proceeds from Law Firm shirts were also a part of the donation, all going to help kids have a safe place to go.
Just coming in here, looking around, seeing all the kids with, shirts that have my name and his name on it. It just shows that all the hard work that we've done, is paying off, and giving back to the community is always a great feeling.
And the Illini hoping to leave Tampa with even more good feelings. A win would certainly do that. It has been a fun hour here on the Your Illini Nation Bowl Special. A lot more to come here with the Illini all week, and we will be here to cover it all. Andy and Brice, back to you.
All right, Brett, thanks so much. Enjoy the weather for us. Here's one last look at the matchup for the game. Mississippi State favored by 2 points in this one. MSU and Illinois have not played in more than 40 years. The Illini haven't beaten them in almost a century, going back to a 27-0 win in 1923.
And before the game, tune in on air and online for a special hour-long Your Illini Nation pregame show. Bret Beherns and Jeremy Werner will be live from Tampa with Andy Olson in studio. You can watch the whole thing commercial-free on WCIA at 9 a.m. Monday morning.
All right, that'll do it for us tonight. From Lincoln to Ann Arbor, Madison to Tampa, we've been right there with the Illini all season long. And thank you for tuning in every step of the way. For Brice and Brett, I'm Andy. Have a good night. Enjoy the game, everyone.